This is like the 15th time I've done this, Christy, so I hope to hell it's good. Seriously. Hi folks, this is Sascha Illyvich here, coming to you for a weekly YouTube update. I know I don't do them normally, and over the last 18 years I haven't had the equipment, and not that my iPhone is the perfect piece of equipment for it, but it's a hell of a lot better than this monstrosity that no one gives a shit about. Yeah, already blew it. Anyway, I'm going to give you guys an editing tip, but what you're going to find here before I do that is just a variety of things, stories, interview stuff with me. Every now and then I like to play a game where I'll go onto Facebook and say to the audience that follows religiously, hey, what do you want to know? Ask me any questions you can, whether it's about my own career, industry questions, random things, my cigar smoking, why I do it with a bad heart, or drink the way I do, just whatever you want to know, just every now and then I'll do that. And I think I'm going to incorporate another feature also that I picked up and I'm going to steal from Tim Ferriss, where it's like the 100th podcast episode. We'll do drunk dialing and I'll record those, and if I can get that video on Skype to record back and forth or figure that out, then that will be something we do too. Point is, always good information up here, because we're making some changes to the YouTube channel that I've got and had for a number of years. We're going to be a lot more consistent, and I'm going to promise you the same, if not more, value that I have in the past. Okay? Fair enough? All right. Oh, and the other thing about the changes is that's why most of the content is gone. I updated the cigar stuff because it's client stuff of mine, and I need to hold something over his head. So I show him I've been working on other things in addition to other stuff, and I'm just teasing, but still. Wanted to get that up there because I should have had it up there in the first place, and his product deserves better than what YouTube chose for me as default images and things like that. So anyway, that's up there. The couple of bourbon reviews are up there, same reason, different client, but that's the whole thing. This week's tip, and I swear to God I'll be pithy, because I'm tired of saying it. Dialogue tags. Get rid of them. They don't occupy space or value in the reader's mind, and when you have dialogue tags there throughout a paragraph or a page or a couple of pages, what happens is the reader doesn't get a clear enough picture of the story. And what you do instead is you use action tags. Think about it for a minute. Communication is 85% nonverbal. This chair sucks, and you can tell because I'm moving all fidgety in it, plus the caffeine buzz. I didn't get any sleep last night. Second night in a row. I got up at 9 this morning and got right to work and decided that if I was going to do that, I was just going to start sucking down pu'er and yerba mate the way Tim Ferriss does, and just go and go and go and go and go until I burned out and fell asleep and just didn't get up for 12 hours. Anyway, but you can tell that I'm disgusted with the chair because of my body language. I didn't have to tell you that. If you were sitting right in front of me and watching me fidget, you'd see the same thing. I'm not even aware of doing it unless I mention it for the dialogue tag portion of this. All of your action tags are all really unconscious mental programming that you picked up from early on before you had a context or concept of what words were. So maybe mommy and daddy were really, really lovey-dovey. Maybe you saw that. Maybe you saw an image of two adults and they were playing kissy face. And then maybe you saw two people talking politics in this day and age. And those three things are all very different. Mommy and daddy, maybe the story is they have never lost a spark. So that passion is still there, and they show it every single way. So now you having witnessed that from childhood, have a concept of what true love may look like. The two kissy couples, or the couple playing kissy face, maybe they're mature and they're young and they're teenagers, maybe they're in their 20s, and you know what young love looks like. And they're actually not that different, those two right there, but there are variations, and I'll get into that in a different lesson. And then of course, the political discussion is obvious. If you're growing up and you see someone arguing with me on politics, two things. First of all, I can promise you, it's not going to be pleasant necessarily. And number two, I'm right anyway, so they need to stop. But even that, body language. They get in each other's faces, their motions are jerky. Those action tags go at the very beginning of a sentence, not always, because dialogue is an action too. But this creates a deeper mental movie in the reader's head. If the reader sees too many saids on a page, their eyes don't see it, but their brain goes, there's nothing here to deal with. I already am that caffeinated, and I probably shouldn't have used this for my first day back at YouTube, but screw it. If you've got the action tags in there, and there's an order of operations, which I'll mention later in a different video, but if we got the action tags in there, then the brain sees how that person moves and how concisely that character is, and that's how you differentiate a lot of times, especially if you write same-sex romances or same-sex genre fiction. Your gay hero number one, maybe he's very, very, very flamboyant and very, very, very outspoken. The latest person I could think of who's like this will be Milo Yiannopoulos. Earlier, Carson Kressley. Different people completely in terms of everything else, but they're both kind of flamboyant. And their gestures are like that. I don't remember Carson so well. It's been a very long time since I saw Queer Eye with a Straight Guy. Missed the show, by the way. But Milo has a habit of taking his glasses off to make a point and putting them back on to go back and read from his speech. I don't want to hear you don't like him either. I'm using him as an example, not to discuss the politics of him or not. But he's going to act very differently. Then, if you remember Queer Eye with a Straight Guy, you had Jay. Very well dressed. I'll say he's handsome. I'm okay with my sexuality. Very, very easygoing. Very, very friendly, very warm, very loving. You might mistake him for straight if it wasn't so obvious. But his body language is different than Milo's or Carson's. Tremendously. Ted moved in a very stiff manner. Not like upper crust British stiff, but you knew he knew his food and his wine from the perspective of somebody who really loved food and wine. And all of the men I've named are homosexual males. But they have different body language gestures. And that's how you would differentiate Carson from Jay in the bedroom or Carson from Jay anywhere else. The same with your women. And obviously, I presume 90% of my audience is going to be women right now because I'm talking to romance authors. You girls move the same way in terms of differences. My middle girlfriend is very, very self-assured, but when she walks, you know she's coming to go wherever she wants to go, but she moves slowly, like she's got not a care in the world. Now, part of that's cultural, which I'll get to in a second, because she's in the South, but a part of that's her persona. Whereas my youngest girlfriend moves with me, like me. Not because of me, but she moves at a very rapid pace. Also very self-assured, but very, very different. And that's, again, differentiation between two same-sex characters in a story. Now, the other thing to pay attention to is cultural differences. I had an example earlier. Oh, the one I gave was different body language cues mean different things to different cultures. A is not tolerated in the Middle East. They will take offense. I can do this because I'm brushing my beard because it's so long now. I would not purposely do that in Italy. they take offense. There are other gestures that I used to know about in more detail in the Asian culture, where some gestures in our culture mean a completely different thing than they do in theirs. The point is, and you'll love this, it'll expand your mind. Spend some time researching, because it may help you with character development as well. Now, that's the lesson for this week. Like I said, we're going to be here every week on Wednesdays. Caffeine. Like the video, share with your friends, tell them to subscribe. Obviously, there's 17 of you here now, so please, please, please spread the word. Writing tips, cigar stuff, lifestyle blogging things, random things of interest to me, just to deepen the connection, establish my brand, and give back to or pay forward to the people that have put me here or who will get me farther. Because it's all about give and take and equivalent exchange. And some of you will know where that came from, which is why I'll tag it down below. I don't have a cheap ass gesture, so I'm just gonna put my tea down, lean forward, and turn the camera off, and you guys are gonna see way too much of my face in a minute. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.